Are we going to have the screen? Wonderful, thank you. Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Administrative Committee for Washington County. We have in attendance Supervisors Linda Garath, Joe Vespalic, Bob Hartwig, and Kara Guzzi is attending via Zoom. Hello. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask if you join me, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We have before us a consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the meeting of February 8th. Would look for a motion to approve. Motion by Joe, second by Bob. Any comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, we have a discussion item, which is Washington County Cybersecurity Audit Score. And we do have Mr. IT with us who will be taking over. And we put you on the microphone. Oh, I'm gonna owe everybody the beer here.
So the first thing I just wanted to discuss, so everyone knows, this was a major goal for IT for a number of years. It's to retire our IBM AS400. The AS400 ran the county for decades, probably about 2 to 3 decades. They had different versions over the time frame, but we retired it in May of this year. And then it was removed from the data center in the last month. So you can see it sitting there in different individual pieces, but we'll either sell it off or recycle it at some point. We could give it to the Historical Society.
I think we should give it to the Historical Society. It's been served several generations, I think.
Correct, yes, yep. So, but I wanted to kind of go back and just kind of retrace our steps of how we got here with cybersecurity. So Washington County did a pen test back in the fall of 2019. In December.
Could you a pen that just so everybody knows, because we have a vast viewing
Sure.
audience, I'm sure.
It's a penetration test, is a pen test.
Thank you.
So that you hire a firm basically to penetrate your network from the outside and then even from the inside to see if there's any holes within the
Right.
network.
Thank you.
So after we did that, we found a number of different holes from the pen test. We did a complete security audit that was performed. From that, in 2019, resolutions 67 and 68 were passed. One was for an additional position within IT. The other one was for different security projects that we needed to do for a total of $662,000. And then in December of 2020 and in January 2021, we did another security audit was performed. And resolution 25 was passed at that time for additional $209,000. So in total, we spent $872,000 on cybersecurity over the last couple of years.
And just to show the seriousness of how we take cybersecurity, this has always been passed unanimously through this administrative committee, and then with our support unanimously by the county board.
That is
so
correct,
we take the people's information very seriously.
Correct. So from the security audit, the last security audit that we did, we ranked 615, which is in the fair range, as you can kind of see there. As the scale on the bottom, it's very poor, fair, good, and then excellent. We started off in the very poor, the very first one that we did. So over that next year, we moved it into the fair. Now over this past year, we're expecting them to move it into the good category. Which kind of brings us to the question that I have before you tonight is good enough for the county at this point? And not to go into that excellent. I would say that at this point, good is good enough for the county. There's diminishing returns as you kind of get into that excellent category. You can spend millions of dollars and get very little back. So my target is in that good category between the 660 and the 780. And I just want to make sure that the committee is good with that as well. So
No pun intended.
We're
good with that.
you're good with that, right? Correct. No pun intended.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any discussion, any questions that you have, anything, agreements, disagreements with that. But I just want to make sure before we move forward that we're all working in the right direction.
Well, exactly. I think we're moving exactly in the right direction. You are correct. The diminishing returns can be rather incredible for an incremental move to literally double your cost
Correct.
in what you're doing. So I don't necessarily know that that would be an incredibly wise spend of the taxpayers' dollars. However, we need to make sure that we are constantly looking at this because this is a moving target.
Right.
I mean, the crooks will do whatever they can to get it, and we have to make sure to stay on top of it. Unfortunately, that means spending more money than we would like, but we're going to spend it to protect the information
Right.
of the county and of all its citizens.
We will continue to monitor the security landscape. If it changes, we'll come back to the board or back to the committee and ask for additional either funding or employees or whatever we need at that time that we think we need to solve the issue.
Right.
But at this point, I'm kind of saying good is good at this point, and we're going to stop there.
Okay.
any
Questions,
questions
comments
on
by
that?
any of the? Please, go ahead, Linda.
So when I was reading it over, your goal is to get to 660, it looks like, which is the bottom end of good. So in the future, will you be wanting to move it up to be a little gooder?
More good. I don't think so. We'll probably be somewhere in that range, which within a good range. The goal is at the very bottom of the good, but I think I'm pretty confident we'll surpass that with the changes that we made over the last year. So I don't think, even though we're setting kind of the goal as 660, I think we'll probably actually end up higher than that.
Okay, and then is there any way, like when you do these penetration tests, is there any way of being able to tell us, like at what number I guess I don't know how to ask it because I probably know the answer. When they can actually get in, like if someone were to try to get into the payroll system, for example.
So any breaches that we would have, we definitely would report to the committee, any of those breaches, and then to the county executive as well. So we have a certain set of instructions that we'll follow if a breach occurs. And we'll actually execute that and go through on that. So that's a document that we currently have in place. We're working with it on it, and the county attorney constantly just making sure it's up to date on different things, different breaches and different kinds of breaches that occur. So we'll definitely do that. We're also going to do another security audit in the January, February next year. So early next year, we're going to do another security audit. We'll bring that back to the committee again, and you'll see whether we are in that good category.
Yeah, other than the score, whenever they're talking any specifics, we go into closed session.
Correct.
Obviously, we're not going to discuss where our weaknesses are. So just so you're aware. So it will most likely be done, but I'm sure that a closed session would be in order because
Correct.
especially when it comes to payroll and things like that. So thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Please go ahead, Joe.
And you kind of answered it with the audit in January next year, but I was just going to say good is a broad statement. Do we still understand without details where the gaps are? Yeah, we can say, you know what, we're going to get the good, but that's it. But I'd say good is, obviously, we're going to continue to monitor this. Do we know where the gaps are?
So when we do the security audit, the firm comes back with a gap analysis, basically just what you're talking about. And they tell us, okay, these are the additional things you actually need to do to go up to the next level or to protect yourself. These are critical, errors within your environment that you need to correct now, or you're no longer in the good category. So we'll continue to do those tests, those security audits, and then we'll learn from those, bring those to the committee and make sure that you're aware of any kind of breaches or any kind of issues that we might have within the security audit.
Super. Thank you very much.
Yep, you bet.
Appreciate the update. Next, we have two action items. 6A, an action regarding countywide library service agreement. And who will be taking that? That will be our county clerk.
So this is the library services agreement or contract that we have with all of the libraries and municipalities that have the actual libraries within them. It is how we determine where the county library tax dollars go. So anyone who lives in a non-served community is subject to that library tax if their municipality does not levy over a certain amount per the state statutes for a library. So all of the municipalities in Washington County that do not have a library, currently all those residents pay a library tax on their tax bill. So this contractor agreement hasn't been revised majorly since about 2014. So the librarians had asked that we retake a look at the contract and make some changes. And so those changes were brought to the Library Services Board for the county and approved, and some things were tweaked at that meeting. The approved contract at that meeting was then sent to each of the municipalities and their library boards and was approved by every single library board in every single municipality. And so now, just procedurally, it has to come to the administrative committee and then to county board for the final approval. So in your packet, you'll see I have a committee report and then the approved library contract that you guys will be approving or not. And then the changes are noted in the final attachment. So you can see what was added, what was removed for the library contract. And I can answer any questions you have regarding anything that's in there.
Now, this action will then immediately go to the county board in the next meeting, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Mhm.
Thank you. Okay, questions, comments about the library? I think it's very straightforward, very well laid out. Thank you very much. Made it pretty easy to follow. Anybody, Kara, on, I can't see you on.
No
Zoom.
questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Seeing no questions, I would entertain a motion to approve or deny. Bob to approve, Linda second. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Kara, did you vote?
Yeah, aye.
Okay, thank you. Opposed, no? Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you. Second action item, 6B, 2021 Resolution 66, voiding stale checks. I believe that's our cue for our county treasurer.
So this resolution was set to come before you in November. Your agenda wasn't that big, and this isn't that, not that it's not important, but it's not important enough to not be thrown off till December. So these are the stale checks from 2019 that have been tried a few times. If you see your name on here, there's still time. We have 10 years to, you can always come back and say, I didn't get my check, and you can come back for that. But this just helps with the accounting purposes, and it helps with reconciliation. So.
Okay, simple enough. We do it every year, more of a perfunctory task, but we have to do it. So any comments, questions for our treasurer? I think it's pretty straightforward. If not, I would entertain a motion to pass the voiding of stale checks. Linda to approve, second by Bob. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Our next meeting date is Wednesday, January 12th at 4:45 p.m. With that, we stand adjourned to the call of the chair. Thank you.